What's up YouTube, Phoenix Deity back again, once again for another Black Clover Phantom Knights video. And this time we will be looking at the updated tier list on the website. It was last week or so? It should have been like just about a week ago. But last week I jumped into the Discord, link is in the description, and I went to the JP chat and I decided that for a fun little activity I would ask the people there just what they thought about some units for the tier list's sake, and just basic things like that. So this is a cooperative tier list, so shout out to the Discord members that helped. Appreciate all of you guys, and as it was stated for a few weeks, right here, nope, I got rid of it, but this tier list will only be tier 3 and above. It's there's a lot of units in the game, so it took a bit to actually edit the tier list because I would have to move a lot of things around, and now with tier 3 and above it's a lot simpler. So once again, as always, this is my personal opinion, somewhat along with the people that help from the Discord, so shout out to them again. But you know, how well they can fulfill their role, stats and skills and stats, and essentially just, you know, PvE, because you know, who cares about PvP? And also this is with no consideration to relics, gems, or accessories, so keep that in mind. So starting from tier 3, I already have the type specific one, so if you want to see what a unit does, then you would probably be good to go to one of those, because I won't really spend much time talking about these units. But tier 3 is kind of the bottom of the barrel for meta use. Like, I kind of would consider tier 2 and above units you can use in tower effectively. And then tier 3 is kind of the, maybe you have to work a little bit harder with them for them to be able to do, you know, good things within tower and things of that nature. So tier 3 is kind of like they have potential. So Valentine's Day, Vanessa, she has some great potential. She has her healing, well, not healing, but she has her drain, she has her lifesteal she can do, she has her effects. I don't really remember what she does. That's the wrong thing. But yeah, she has what she can do, and she's pretty decent at it, especially thanks to her buff. So I'll be honest, I forgot what she does. But yeah, oh yeah, she can ability steal, she can lifesteal, and she can inflict stop. So overall, that's pretty good, but you know, like, with stats like these, you will have to work a little bit hard for her. So units like that is more so what I'm talking about when it comes to like tier 3. So we have 7-star Veto. Overall, he isn't really that impressive, in all honesty. He raises his attack and defense, which is nice, but outside of that, he's kind of just bland. Wedding Charlotte is also pretty good as well. Next up, Royal Knight Asta. So the tag Magnum Luck banner, Royal Knight Asta and Spirit Dive Uno actually came back. So I would not blame them if they ended up giving them a 7-star relatively soon. Like between this month and next month, if him and Spirit Dive end up getting 7 stars, I see it happening. And earlier this year, before it was, has it been a year since they've been out yet? 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah. So the last week of, so they came around this, like the end of the week last year. So like around August last year, that's when Spirit Dive and Royal Knight Asta came out. Mainly using that as a timeline because just about right before half anniversary, Leona and Black Asta got their 7 stars, so I expect him and SD Uno to get one as well relatively soon. So White Day Asta, solid character, but again, just could be better. That's just the whole thing about a lot of these holiday units. They just could be better. So it's hard for them to compete with some of these other units because their stats aren't really there, even though some of their abilities are really good. So chance to inflict stop is really good, especially to all enemies. Like that's a great ability. Raises speed, that's meh. Gain armor, that's meh. Her arcane art is really good, raises attack and defense and increases own hate, so Like, these characters are good, but they could be so much better. Mimosa is also in tier 3. You know, just nothing to it. Swimsuit Yami, he's able to buff characters in the same row and column as him for, like, depending on the skill. He's actually pretty solid. But, again, stats kind of kill him. Zora, who most recently got his 7-star buff, he probably won't be here anymore. I have to look more into his 7-star stats and abilities, maybe some gameplay, and then I will, like, move him, but on paper, his 7-star buff would probably put him around tier 1 or tier 0. Most likely tier 1. And you will hear me say on paper quite a bit, because mainly because of one unit that kind of changed the game, quote unquote. Actually, not even quote unquote, they kind of did. So Magnum Luck is pretty much the unit I'm talking about, where on paper, if you look, you know, like, relatively okay like good stats for a 7-star, abilities are more or less kind of plain, you know, like, he has good ranges, you know, lower speed, lower defense, enemies in range. Like, his kit's all in all kind of average now, but you would not expect him to deal like 250k without any gems, right? Like, again, like, on paper, you would not expect that from a unit that does, like, with that much attack. So that's the main reason why I will be saying on paper pretty much from now on, because a unit can look one way, like, just looking at the skills, and then in reality, they could end up being insane. So that's a good thing to keep in mind for the future. Null Julius, for me, he's just kind of the average. Like, if tier 3 was somewhat average as well, I would consider him very average in all honesty. I mean, before a 7-star buff, like, I think, like, I would 100% say these are like the standard stats that units would have. And that kind of diverged when he became 7, but still overall good. Like, Like, I 100% would consider this like the average stats for a 6-star that's going into 7-star. Anything higher in any category is really good for that character, and anything lower kind of makes it meh. So this is like, his stats are pretty much a good baseline for, like, okay, you know, this character's attack is really good, this character's defense is trash, this character's HP is really good, so on and so forth. So that wraps up tier 3. Once again, hopefully, like, pretty much after this video, I'll update the rest of the site, aka put Longris and Finral in, and then 7-star Zora, and move on from there. But pretty good. Next up, we have tier 2. So tier 2 are units you can 100% use in tower. Like, they're perfectly fine to use. They will have issues here or there, and I think for the most part, most of the attackers' issues are their defense. So we're gonna start off from that. Jack, good character, but again, like, all the attackers that are in here pretty much are only there mainly because of their defense. Like, they can put up really good number. Why did I do that? Okay. Like, they can put up really good numbers, but when it comes to defense, not looking that great. Like, 300 defense. You don't want to see that. You really don't. And he naturally has 168, so he does damage. He's somewhat self-sufficient, but the defense kills him. Same for Yami. He has a good AOM, just kind of standard AOM. He does a lot of damage. His fixed damage was increased. He gives himself dodge. He can lower an enemy's defense, so good all around, but not someone you'd mainly build a team for tower, for example. Nozel is probably one of the better of the captains. I'll just open a new tab. But he's one of the better of the captains, mainly because his Arcane Art's able to raise crit rate for all allies. And he's also able to raise his own attack. I think that's a 7-star. Yeah, 7-star, he's able to seal Arcane Arts, which is really nice. So overall, like, all that tied together, Nozel's really good. He's really powerful. But, you know, once again, like, he has average defense for a 7-star, that I would say. But his damage output is going to be really good. You know, the crit helps him a lot. Like, again, you know, all these characters kind of have the same problem. Licked / Patry. We'll just say Patry. I'll fix that later. Patry. So he's extremely solid. He can put up incredible numbers, but again, that's kind of all he does, sadly. You know, he has one AoE skill where it's like, okay, he can greatly increase his own attack power, which is, I think his might be around the same as Lumiere, but he only has one AoE skill. Like, you want to see more. You really want to see more. He raises blues, which is really good, but that's just like he's just kind of basic. You know, you don't really want to use that much single target units. Spirit Dive Uno. Now, a lot of people think he will 100% be Arcane tier with his 7-star, and once again, you know, without relics, without anything, I'm just gonna say if his defense is not above 350, he won't be Arcane tier. Like, overall, he's still extremely good, you know. Great range, attack and speed buff, which is really good, but like this might get increased to large, which is again really good. This times 4 damage, and then lower speed might be medium and full, like short. Like, overall, he's great, you know, he's really good. Global never really got a chance to experience him, so mainly the JP player intuition / player base kind of knows how good he really is, but one thing that's killing him now, especially now, is his defense. Like, floor 60 of this past tower included Devil. And if Devil moves him to the front line and then inflicts his the AOM switch seal, he's dead. Like, within one hit, he is 100% dead. There's nothing you could do to stop that. And pretty much same goes for Tagmare Leona. Like, overall good. They're single target, which kind of sucks. Well, she's single target, which kind of sucks. The skill 2, giving her counter rate, kind of sucks as well. The skill 3 is a straight line AoE though, which is nice, but that's about it. Same for Awakened Licht. Like all these characters, they're just relatively the same when it comes to this tier, where they're solid, but it's like 220 defense. Like, come on. If he ever gets a 7-star, then that will be really good, but well, like, that should be more than 300. That should be like borderline 450, 425-ish, but right now, not that great. Honestly, not that great. Mars. Mars is mainly this low because of his skills. Like, he probably has one of the best, like, 6-star to 7-star stats, but his skills kind of just, like, they don't really help him that much. Like, 6,000 HP, really good, 700 defense, like, really good. That rivals Spirit of Zephyr's defense. 300 speed, you don't really care about speed. 350 is wisdom / intelligence, pretty good. 500 attack, you don't really care about. You know, like, his best skill is his skill 1 and his skill 3. You know, like, the HP, the constantly restore HP is really good. Pair that with 350 intelligence. I think that should heal him around, like, what? I think probably 1,000, and then he should get tick heals for around like 100 or 200, which is like really good. So his tick healing can pretty much save him. Medium. So around 200 for tick heal, like with relics and accessories and such, you could easily boost that to around, like, I want to say, like, realistically 400 for his tick healing, which is really good. You know, like, pair that with his skill 1 and then his skill, like, it's just really good. But like this, useless. Arcane art, useless. So wish he was better. Valentine's Day Noelle is also, like, extremely good, but 7 stars just kind of ended up eclipsing her, sadly. Like, it's solid, but the skills are really good. Our allies in range armor pretty much would only apply to her. Raise ally defense, and restore their HP, which is nice, but again, that's mainly going to affect people that aren't her, which kind of sucks. But that's why she does have her skill 1, which does, you know, help her, which is really good, but she kind of can't compete. She just kind of can't right now. Let's see. Next up, Kaharo. We won't really go over her. We're gonna have to talk about Dorothy because people will be mad about that one. New Year's Charmy. So, here, she's still waiting for a buff. She's almost 2 years old now. Still, Bandai Y. Okay, so New Year's Charmy. Like HP sucks, defense bad. What carries her is her arcane art and her other 3 skills, in all honesty. So, increasing attack rate, increasing attack power, crit rate, and intelligence for all allies is really good. So, attack for all your attackers is fantastic. Crit rate for all your attackers fantastic. Intelligence for those people who love Defense Julius, also fantastic. So, excuse me. So this is like, all in all, Arcane Art's one of the best support ones in the game. Her and like White Day Funeral have like one of the best. Give ally effect immunity. Like, people don't realize, but this is actually really, really good. We'll just like ignore the speed increase, but effect immunity will essentially help you in floor 60 in tower, where Devil will have his AOM ceiling, skill ceiling, and like formation swap ceiling. Like, if the ally affected will have this on them, you won't get affected. So this is really good. This is like a future debuff. Yeah, it's like a future debuff. I think not a future debuff. It's like a future debuff prevention. There we go. That's better. So that's really good. Skill 2, you really won't need it. If she has high wisdom, then this has a higher chance of being inflicted to enemies, but I wouldn't count on it. Then a short defense increase to allies within range, which is really nice. But again, can't compare. Now, why is Dorothy tier 1 and tier 2 and not like tier 1 or higher? Once again, this is characters without formations, not formations. Oh, that's cute. I just realized. But this is characters without the, not formations, but without gems, without relics, without accessories, just them by themselves. Ideally, even though this is very short, you don't want this. And you can easily make the argument of, okay, if you did factor all that in, she would easily be, like, okay. If you factor in like accessories, gems, relics, this, that, and whatever, she could easily be tier 1 or higher. But again, that would literally be the case for any and every character. Like, okay, with gems she could easily be tier 0. Okay, then with gems, literally, Finra can be tier 0, Nelzel can be tier 0, Witch Queen can be tier 0. Like, if you apply it to her, then it would have to be applied to everyone else, and then there really wouldn't be a point of a tier list, because at that point it's just like, well, this character may be bad with healing, but guess what? I can just give him accessories, gems, relics, etc., and he'll be infinitely better. Like, that's mainly why. Just flat out, her skills as they are, her stats as they are, she is this low, skill 3 is useless. Like, people really don't realize as well that you're only using her for her skill 1 and skill 2. Like that, those are the only 2 things you're using her for. Using her for healing and using her for armor. If that's the case, you might as well just use another character, because they'll be able to do more than that. Like, armor, healing. I might make a team building guide one day where I will say this, but a lot of characters, well, a lot of defenders mainly, they need an extra, like, they want another character with them to help them bring out their like best potential. Her plus Fragolian, like, yes, that would be incredible. Like, you always get armor with them. Like HP recovery for when that armor breaks. Like, her plus Fragolian will like be a great pair, and then you could just get 3 other attackers to do your thing. But just flat out her by herself, not that great. Charlotte is really good. Her arcane art is AoE, an AoE defense down and an application of slip, so that's nice. Witch Queen Jammer is still really solid, lowers pretty much every stat in the game, so that's really good. Jammer Finral, with his disruption of putting enemies, in the front line, he can increase an ally's crit, and I think it's crit and I think action. I could be wrong, But I think it's great in action. I have him, but he's still just 5-star, so. Oh, crit and speed. And then he still can give action, so. Overall, like, still really good. So, he's really good. The Nozelle's there, you know, he's just kind of disruption, so. Moving on to the short of tier 1. There were some global people there because she is, Dwarf Charmy is Global's champion. She honestly didn't survive that long for JP. Because once again, she dropped like, I think she was the last Phantom Fest of 2019, and then we immediately went into 7 stars. So she pretty much wasn't needed for JP, like, except for like once or twice. But again, Global got her early, so they had a lot more time to use her because every other banner was trash. So, you know, her self-sufficiency is the best part about her. She basically plays the role of a frontline tank, somewhat similar to Leona. But yeah, so, you know, raise defense, raise speed, raise crit rate. You know, you have your HP. You give her like attack hasten. Yeah, you give her attack hasten, or that should be a, I think that's a debuff. I think this is classified as a debuff. But, you know, whatever, attack boost, or you could just give her HP and defense gems and go for offensive abilities for her. I don't know, she, like, again, just because she wasn't needed for JP, which is why before she was like tier 2 or tier 0, wherever. If she gets a 7-star, she'll probably be 0 because she can't compare to these guys up here, so. Salamander Fragolian, really solid tank, especially with a 7-star, like, that helped them out a lot. A lot of people like to trash on armor, and they're like, oh, you know, he sucks, he only gives armor. Only Julius and Spirit of Zephyr are in contention for best tanks in the game, etc. But still, even without that, really good stats. Now, again, offensive tanks, people really love to hate offensive tanks. Increases own crit rate and attack, which is nice. Increase reds for allies, which is, like, this is really good for Tower of Dreams. Especially if you're running the classic Black Bull setup where you formation swap into Turtle, then formation swap back out to get the buffs. This is really good. Just because Turtle and Black Bull both have a lower red crystal rate, so being able to get your AO up faster, especially in Tower, really good. Then give self armor and maximize zone hate, so, like, I'll be honest, his skill set kind of sucks, but you give him, no, I can't even say you give him XYZ. So, it sucks, but he is helpful. He is helpful. Witch Queen heal, she gives her lifeguard buff for everyone. Makes it really good. Transcendent healing, she is the same tier as Sekre. Let's go to Sekre so people can see, because I didn't talk about her, because she wasn't out like 3 months ago. So, solid unit, decent stats, you know, above average, below average, above and above. Transcendent healing, great HP recovery, removes abnormal conditions and debuffs. She's also really good for floor 60 of tower if you have her. Then stun one enemy and high chance to apply buff ban. So, she's good. She's really good. Yukadamir Leona. I think even with her buff, she might stay here. One of the reasons why she is so high is because of her crit rate lead, as well as her being able to increase blues and attack and speed for allies, I believe. You know, once again, I don't have her, so I don't really know, but I think that's what she does. Crit rate, yeah, attack and speed of allies. So, really solid, really solid. Tag William. I get, a lot of these characters, they're good. You can use them in tower and get by in tower just because they do something that's really good for them. And then we have, He can take away buffs, he can heal, he has really good AoE with buff ban. He can do fixed damage as well. Like, Tag Black Asta is really, really good. If he ever gets a 7th star, he'll be pretty good. Like, better than he is now. So, tier 0, Leona. Tier 0. Why is she tier 0? Everyone above her is just better. And basic and simple as that. Her Arcane art, AoE, extremely good. Her skill 2, her skill 2 pep talk is the part that everyone loves about her. Increase attack, increase crit for all allies behind her, extremely good. Her skill 3, the defense buff plus the hate increase. In all honesty, the hate increase sucks. Like, you might not ever want the hate increase because there will be times where you swap back into Black Bulls and then she will get targeted for attacks because she has a hate increase. So that's the main, like, gosh, I wish I could change that character about her. Like, that's the literal only thing about her. These characters would pretty much have like one flaw. Like, that's kind of tier 0. Like, you'll see them on most tower, some of the most tower teams, they have like one flaw. Valkyrie Dress Noelle, her 7-star made her really good. She has like all AoE skills except for her skill 2, which is single target, but it gives her dodge, so it makes up for her defense being 300. Damage immunity, which is the same as the ghost relic, as the ghost necklace of Finral and Longris and Finral. The powerful attack, damage immunity except for arcane arts. Like, this is literally the same thing. Then attack to enemies within range and lowers their defense. Her AOM is also pretty handy as well. A medium attack and defense increase, so you hit a little bit harder, you tank a little bit more, so overall solid. Julius, the quote-unquote best defender, tied with Spirit of Zephyr. So after using both, I can come and say that they are practically the same. A lot of people will say that they aren't the same, like, their leagues different from each other, but in my honest opinion, I think they're generally the same. Yes, he has healing. He can remove stat effects and debuffs, which is really good. You probably won't use him for a lead. He raises his defense for self and allies, increases his own hate. Medium damage and high chance to inflict stop. Then gain invincibility. So overall, pretty good. Like, him with necklace and whatever you call it, whatever you want to call it. Well, yeah, I keep saying, okay, this is without relics, and then I keep bringing in the relics, but overall, pretty good. You can go whatever gems you want. Okay, I'm just gonna move on. Next up, we have Spirit of Zephyr, 750 defense, extremely good defense. He will 100% tank more than Julius. He's made to be an offensive tank. He can ability seal, which is really strong. He can also increase his own hate, which is good for Leona per se. Damage immunity and shield allies, so this helps with allies like Leona, you know, where if you were gonna get hit by an AoE skill, then he essentially just tanks it. So again, like, shield allies is a really underrated skill, in my opinion. And then he can also lower enemy speed, so really good. Would Julius be ranked higher if he was 7-star? It kind of just depends. Maybe, maybe not. Like, let's say they don't touch his skill. They don't touch his skills, but excuse me. 7-star wise, he has like 6,000 attack, 6,000 HP, 900 attack, like 550 defense, 300 speed, 350 intelligence, like something like that, maybe. Like, you 100% would have to playtest him to truly figure out, but solid. Vanessa and Rouge with their 7-star version. So let me open up this, and then Black Asta will be after that, but Vanessa and Rouge, so their 7-star made them extremely good. Well, they were already good before, but that and then seeing them in tower kind of increased it. I don't have them, so give all allies in dodge and invincibility, so That's she doesn't need to do this. Like, this is so unnecessary. You really could just give invincibility for a long time, but this is really good. Her stats are really good as well. So average defense, below average attack, but that doesn't matter. About average HP, above average speed, and above average intelligence. So really good. Damage immunity to an ally if that gets applied to your tank. Extremely good. High chance to buff ban, well, transfer buff, no, buff transfer seal, aka buff ban. I should reword. Well, that's Global's translation for it. So that's really good. Stop allies from getting buffed. And then in a cross, hastening for attack, recovery, and weakening techniques. Oh, I'm pretty sure her 7-star adds whatchamacallit, toughening techniques as well. So hastening for all skills. And if you want to tell me that's bad, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's extremely good. Now, the biggest meme that people love to hate. Riveach. Like above average HP, above average attack, average defense, above average speed and intelligence. So overall, most of them are above average. The range for the arcane art won't show, but it's full map AoE, similar to skill T. So lower the enemy's arcane gauge, plus them themselves take no damage from attacks other than secret arts, so free dodge, everyone loves it. A dual attack doesn't do anything. AOM doesn't do anything. They were actually my key of beating floor 60 even as a 6-star. I did not 7-star them. Eventually I will, but as for now, won't. But, well, as for now, I planned on it, and then tag Magnum Luck dropped, so the crest went to them. So removes buffs from one enemy and transfer it to self. That's like, it's a really good skill. You know, like pretty much in a mirror match in tower, especially because the enemy Riveach, floor 60 wise, yeah, for floor 60, the enemy Riveach will take your buffs, and most of the time they do end up targeting the leader, which something I noticed and someone else noticed. I think it was Slender. Shout out to Slender. Good friend. But removes buffs and transfer it to self, so they can take your buffs and then you can just take it back. So that's really good. Especially helpful because it seems like from now on, floor 60 formation swaps will be like 10k healing and then invincibility. So being able to take away that invincibility, giving it to yourself, really good. Powerful attack to all allies. If you manage to steal an attack buff plus a critical buff and or crit damage, like, that does a lot of damage. Same thing with this, and then medium chance to apply stop, so they are good. I do think some people were like, why would I summon for it? Like, you don't have to summon for them if you don't want to. You know, like, I summoned for them because I thought they were interesting, and they kind of lived up to the interesting title for me. Black Asta is here, just because he's about the same as Leona. Like, even like when they first dropped, you could use either, and they were still like, what, one of the 2 best characters in the game. Like, remove buff, self-invincibility, AoE, like, that still holds up to this day. I should 7-star mine if I ever get the chance to. And now we're in the Arcane tier. Black Divider, as we all know, everyone knows, extremely solid. Arcane art is a really good range and can apply, should be able to stop AOM gauge, or stop AOMs. Could be wrong, but I think that's what he does. This is like a 40-minute video, so sorry. Yeah, AA Sealing. Removes buffs with a skill 1 with a 2-row range, really good. Self-invincibility plus an attack boost, and then a full board AoE attack. Like, no reason why he shouldn't be here. Charlotte, high single target damage, can apply slip to all enemies. Her skill 1 has a really good range. Is that her skill 1? Should be her skill 1. Or skill 3 is a really good range. Okay. But high chance to apply slip to a good amount of enemies, as I said before. Fix damage, restore an ally's HP. Really, really good. Don't do that. Tag Fragolian. I think they're the only like fully AoE AoE card here, outside of Devil. So yeah, like you get a full board AoE, like what, 5 ticks of AoE damage. Their skill 2 is useless, but that's fine because they 100% make up for it with everything else that they do. AKA the, I believe, slip damage, and then AOM sealing. No, they don't do slip damage, but high chance to do ability seal, which is really nice in tower. So being able to stop those pesky moths from doing their steel arcane gauge, really good. You don't care about that, then solid range, full board AoE with a AA seal. Like all these characters are just top tier. Lumiere, like hands down, one of the best buffers in the game. One of the highest attack boosts, one of the highest defense boosts. Solid skill 2. He has attacker-ish stats, even though he is a enhancer. His arcane art is a full, like his arcane art attacks in a cross, but he does give all allies crit rate, which is really good. Tag Magna, pretty much the same as kind of why Leona is kind of like there. Crit lead that we've all been waiting for. They do stupid damage. They can lower speed, lower defense. They can apply stop as well with their arcane art, which is really good. Also, this is from the but from the Elf Dorothy fight. There was someone that says, oh, this was from the Veto fight. So, you know, maybe like now that they're done with Elf, they're like revisiting sagas. No, this is from the Elf fight. This is from versus Dorothy. How can I tell? Because Magna did not have his glasses on when he fought Dorothy. So, and he did not have his glasses on when he fought Veto. Weird how that works, but you know. White Day Funeral. Now, this partial surprise, but I think it's kind of well deserved. Maybe as time goes on, he will be placed back into tier 0. Shout out to Globe, you guys just got him too. But post buff. You guys did get the post buff version too, so that's something important to keep in mind. But the damage immunity and actions for all allies, extremely good. Raise crit rate and speed for all allies, extremely good. Move allies and move enemies and lower their defense and speed. Like, what more could you want from a character? And boost arcane art gauge. That's like what, 10%, maybe a bit more, but like it doesn't matter. He's still good. I think like yeah, he's just hands down the best 6-star in the game, best holiday unit. Devil is still really good because of all his disruptions. EX Jack, the leader of the, you know, one of the best teams in the game. You know, he's the most self-sufficient character. Definitely, I would say. If we're like, oh, what do you mean? Increase own crit rate, increase own attack power, increase own speed and action. You use him as lead, so you get crit damage. And the only flaw is his 12 total attacks, which is pretty much the same as Tagalongris and Finral. Which, it's like, you wish it could be better, but, you know. Like, against one enemy, that's really good. Against multiple enemies, like what, the most is 5 enemies. It's like, they're all taking 2, and then 2 of them are taking 2 extra, so it's like, why, you know? So I forgot to add that that's transcendent, so. But like, he literally gets everything by himself. Crit damage, crit rate, speed, action, attack power. Like, there is no more self-sufficient unit than him. You give him defense pierce and then you give him attack boost. Ooh, man, he will be hitting hard. And the last character is Tag Spirit of Zephyr, and you know, well, Tag Spirit of Tag Spirit Dive and Black Asta. So, you love to see him. Buff seal, really good. High chance to inflict formation seal, also really good. Good in tower for when you're against an attack formation and you 100% know that the enemy's second formation is a defense formation. That's kind of why Devil is used as well in towers where you see you're going against an attack enemy he'll be able to keep them in attack and stop them from swapping to defense, which is really good. Lower speed and low chance to inflict stop. Skill 1, like, they're good. Like, this is good. We're gonna skip that. Black Storm combo, which is really nice. Multi-hit attack, same as Black Divider in all honesty. What's their thing? Pokemon. And their skill 2 is just trash. Like, the only scenario where the skill 2 helps is, like, within the first 10 seconds of the game. Well, first, less than 10. Because you get your formation swap after 5 seconds, so within the first, I'd say 7. Within the first 7 seconds of a fight, then it's really good. Because you clearly have the invincibility to allies, so you can protect them from AoE skills, but once you swap the turtle, and since turtle is A ranked for buffing formations, he'll override turtle with his skill and it will suck. Like, your invincibility will be a lot shorter when you use him, so that's always something to keep in mind. Yeah, I think that wraps it up. On paper, again, 7-star Zora is about tier 1. And also on paper, Tagalongerus, I would consider Tagalongerus 0 right now. I'm thinking about it. Give me a second. Okay, so, yeah, I definitely would say that they're around tiers. They're like the same AOM as EX Jack, which isn't bad at all. Their force move is really good. Especially in Tower and PvP, that's really good. You most likely won't be using their AOM. Maximum increase to crit. I wish that was more so like the 6-star Longress, where he boosts crit and attack. I said this before, but hey. Attack enemies within range. High chance to move. I'm pretty sure this is the one that's a cross, so he can move a lot of enemies. This, I'm gonna fix this now. This, I don't think it's infinite dodge, mainly because that would be stupid, because then I have to change that more. I do think it's just X amount of damage and then the dodge will run out, so don't think it's infinite dodge, but still extremely solid unit. Then the changes to Zora as a 7-star, I forgot to mention this, but he can now delay an enemy's arcane art. Said this before in the last video, but that his stun time is now longer, the damage increase, skill 3 is more or less the same. So that will wrap up this tier list video, this like 50-minute long tier list video. I don't know if I'll cut this down, maybe not, maybe I will, but thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that juicy good YouTube stuff. Also, I've been watching the video. Again, if the part kind of won, I guess, to the Longerus, Tagalongerus, and Finral summoning gets 100 likes, I will go until step 7. When I checked this morning, it was 75, so after this, I might be recording a summoning video, who knows, but love you guys, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.